And yeah, that's literally why Thanksgiving's named after me. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I think we're in the pre-show now. So good afternoon, good evening, folks. I see a few people in chat. I think we had Acidic Pure was first today, saying, "Am I a bit too early?" Just over an hour ago, so very early.
Just a little early.
Just a little early, yeah.
Fashionably early, I would say.
I think we've got a few of the people here as well. We've got Metallic Charles, Depleted Vespine, Noxy Jen, Slippery Pete's here as well, saying hey. Pub Goku says good morning. I got a package from you today, Pub. I'm looking forward to building that on stream, so it's one of the things we'll talk about in mail call shortly. Noxy Jen with the Twitch Prime subscription as well. 5 months, 4 month streak. Wow, nice.
People mentioning I've shaved. Something happened to my voice as well. Way higher pitched. I don't know what's going on. We'll get it checked
Really?
out.
You look the same to me. Sorry, you look exactly the same to me. Bantership says I support your decision to transition, Brian. There you go. Some support for you today.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. It did the work really quickly, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Medical science has come so far.
Yeah, fantastic. Pub says, have I opened it yet? No, I haven't actually. No, it came this morning, but it's still in a box behind me. It's that box just there. I was going to hold it up on stream, and then I realised that it's got my address printed in huge block letters on one side, and it's got your address printed in huge block letters on the other side. So I figured best not to dox either of us on that one.
Maybe pass. Yeah, that's a good idea. I've been there and done that for sure.
I did once dox someone by accident. I think I turned a package over and it had their return address on the bottom, and I'd never thought to check it, and it had their address on the bottom. I turned the box over and like, oops, quickly flip it back over. Yeah.
I was, what was I doing? I think I was packaging orders on stream, and thankfully didn't actually dox anybody, but I did reveal one of the people who I did a build for, because I write little like letters with each build that I send out, just like a thank you card, and it had their name in giant letters on the letter. Great. I didn't feel terrible at all.
Nebulant saying we finally ousted him. I assume he means Brian. Yeah, API takeover. Yeah. So Brian is away this week. He is taking a sabbatical for 1 week just while it's Thanksgiving. So he was visiting his sister earlier on today, and we've got the lovely Gasp on stream today. So she's decided to join us, replace Brian for a week.
Appreciating all the apiary puns in chat right now.
Nebula saying, how about that JR1 in QMK? Nice ANSI support, right? Yeah, it's a shame it doesn't support ISO in QMK though. That's the next step, because quite a few people are building them in ISO. I assume the two that you're building, Gasp, they're both going to be in ANSI.
Yeah. I'm sorry to break your heart there, but yeah, they're both ANSI.
Jack Static has subscribed at tier 1 for 8 months on a 3-month streak, and said Jay's going to have that eating grin for the whole show for some reason. Don't know what you mean. Bandship says there's ISO support, you just have to click through 10 neg screens. GDPR in the EU wouldn't let that happen, I'm afraid. Super User 4 as well. Twitch Prime sub, 11 months. Nice. Did I shed a tear when I added anti-support to the JR1? So this is, I don't get why people think this. I'm completely layout ambivalent. I don't care what you use, as long as you use what you like. So, yeah, I just prefer ISO. If you prefer anti, use that. It's fine. I would never, ever take it away from a board I produced.
I was fully expecting you to say, I don't care what you use, as long as you use ISO.
No. That's evil J.
Little J in the corner.
Yeah, the little J that sits on the shoulder, the one that sits under the shoulder, is usually better. You approve US ISO on the JR1. Yeah, it supports ISO ANSI, or you can do US ISO as well. So if Depleted Vespine actually wants to either buy a JR1 or enter the raffle for one, he can build the board how he likes as well. So we actually support pretty much everyone. Volume is kind of low. It's as high as I can make it. I can't turn it any higher. Like my volume's maximum in Windows, maximum on the Streamlabs for both myself and Gasp. I haven't changed anything, Nebulent, so I don't know what was better there, but I didn't change anything. I've literally not touched any settings, so yeah, that's all in your head. That's all in your head. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever have problems with the audio and stuff on your streams?
You know, without fail. Actually, generally speaking, it's an issue with my cameras.
Right.
Because I have like an overhead camera and like my face camera, I have to make sure that they're adjusted. So not only can you see what I'm actually doing, but also so that like you can't see the overhead camera in the face camera, as well as I have to use my PC on a regular basis and not just have cameras everywhere. So I have to take down my setup every single stream. So getting it all adjusted perfectly back, honest to God, I think takes at least 30 minutes to an hour.
Right, okay. See, I leave mine set up, so my other camera is just here. In fact, I can probably bring it out so people can see it. My other camera always stays just out of shot. Oh, now I've broken the stand that it's on. Oops. Oh, there we go. Okay, now it's visible. Let's take it out of the way. Okay, so I broke it by touching it, but yeah, I keep mine just there all the time.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. It is a pain. It is a pain. So who is this lovely lady? We'll do some introductions shortly. After the pre-show, we'll get to the main meat and potatoes of the show. I'm trying to keep it food themed for you, given it's Thanksgiving. So the meat and potatoes of the show, when we actually get through the intro, we'll do some introductions. Brian tried WMPE. We won't see him for months. I've got some here as well. That's part of mail call. We'll talk about that shortly as well. Okay. Damn, the camera that is. Yeah, it happens. We always have problems on Top Clack as well. So I think the challenge Brian and I have with Streamlabs is the fact that we both use the same settings and it stores the settings in the cloud. And then if I change something, it uploads that. And then when Brian tries to do something, it's got the new settings on. And then he'll change it back or he'll change something else. And then I'll end up inheriting those settings. And then it never quite works, and I end up spending 20 minutes before every stream just fixing everything and tweaking it.
Excellent. Gotta love it.
Yeah, definitely profiles. Well, we do use profiles, but because we use the same assets, it carries the stuff across from it. But we do have different profiles for it. Maybe we need to be even more granular with the profiles, actually. Maybe we do need to split out a little bit more. But yeah. But then for the main show like this, we always have that. Are our screen resolutions different? Well, yes, the screen resolutions we have are different on our individual PCs, but we actually use the same canvas size within Streamlabs, so that shouldn't affect it, but it does. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? Nightbot pinging as well. Join the JO1 raffle here and support Sue Rider Hospices. If you are interested on trying to get a JO1, the last, well, not quite the last one, but almost the last one that's available, there is the raffle on Novel Keys, and we'll talk about how well that's doing in just a few minutes. Jay's cam look kind of black and white. Really?
You look a little spooky, yeah. Just a little bit.
Interesting. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's see if we can fix that. Okay, is that better? Is that better? How's that? Is that clearer? Is that nicer? Can you see more of me? He's just pasty.
You're just pasty.
I'm not pasty.
Rude. I think he's actually, if you look at us, like, next to each other, I'm pretty sure I'm much pastier. That's not just the camera.
Better turn on the mood lighting. Yeah, slightly less spoopy. Too much contrast. Maybe. I don't know. It'll do. It's fine. You can see me. You can tell what I'm saying. That's all that matters. But yeah, okay. I think we've got a few more people join chat as well now. Okay, I think we're getting there with the numbers. I think it might be time to run the intro and start the show properly.
Excellent.
Good afternoon, welcome to the show. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, guys. Thank you very much for joining us on this very special edition of Top Clack. Today is Thanksgiving for pretty much everyone who's watching, so I hope you're all having a great day. I hope you're all getting fat on food and turkey and whatever else you want to eat today, because yeah, it's a good day to celebrate all of those things. Speaking of which, I'm very thankful that we've got Gasp on stream today. Brian couldn't make it. He is visiting family today, so I think he's actually just got back and he's probably sat watching us with a nice beer, so I hope he's enjoying the show so far. But I'm really thankful for having Gasp on the show. So how are you doing today, Gasp? Are you good?
Oh my god, I am so good. I am so full of food. I could not be happier. I'm practically comatose. I'm not gonna lie. It's excellent. I love Thanksgiving.
Do you do like the whole big meal then for Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah. It was just we had a small Thanksgiving. It's just me, my boyfriend, and my sister. But I think those are almost better because you can pick exactly what you want to eat. So we just spent all day making food and then just ate it. Perfect day.
Fair enough. Yeah. We don't really do Thanksgiving here in the UK, but we kind of save all that for Christmas and then have massive family meals at Christmas and do all of that kind of good stuff then. So yeah.
Do you guys do like?
Oh no! Your camera froze for a second, but it's all good. It's back. Go on.
a little worrying. All
yeah.
good.
Technical difficulties already, and we're only 2 minutes into the stream.
Excellent, love it. Do you guys do like ham? Like, what is a Christmas dinner in the UK?
So for Christmas dinner, you'll have turkey as the main meat. You'll have ham as kind of like a secondary meat. So we do big legs of ham, and we do that all
Meat
there.
choices, love it.
Yeah. We'll then have sprouts. I don't know if you do sprouts in the US, but we'll have Brussels sprouts, which
Brussels
are kind
sprouts?
of like
Okay.
We'll do other vegetables, carrots, broccoli, all of that kind of stuff. We'll do Yorkshire puddings traditionally, which are kind of like almost like a dough. They're like a baked dough that's kind of crispy and it's really nice.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and then we put lashings of gravy all over it, and usually there's different sauces like cranberry sauce and mint sauce and all stuff like that. And then for Christmas dessert we have Christmas pudding, which is basically figs and dates and sultanas all mixed up in a really thick treacle kind of cake, and then we serve that with brandy sauce and everything else. So yeah,
that sounds amazing.
we do it. Yeah, we do it properly, and then of course there's beer and wine and everything else, and it's traditional to start the day off with champagne and orange juice mix. So you get some fresh orange juice, you get some champagne,
Excellent.
mix them together. That's how we start the day off. That's for breakfast. Yeah, it is really good.
I'm moving to the UK specifically for Christmas now.
Yeah.
And I'll move back.
The best thing is this year that we're off to to my wife's parents for Christmas dinner, and they usually get a cook-in and all of this kind of stuff, so we just don't have to do anything. It's great. It's fantastic.
That sounds
it's really it is. It's the nicest week of the year sometimes. Okay, but I think we've digressed. We started talking about turkeys and food, and we should really start to talk about some keyboards. So let's jump into a bit of a mail call. So Gasp, have you had anything interesting in the mail this week that you want to show off?
Absolutely. I think the number one thing, I'm actually going to have to unplug it. The number one thing I have gotten in today that I've been so excited about has been this GMK Metropolis. Hopefully that's in frame.
Nice.
I might need to lean back a little bit. Yeah, beautiful. Oh my god. I think a lot of the and I have it here, like pretty playful, but I was super impressed, I guess, in like the versatility of the set. It can look very clean and very minimalist if you wanted to, versus like you can also have it looking like a Fisher Price toy. Like I prefer it. So like I love this set. Damn, so impressed. So nice to have it finally in hand. Excellent. I also got in, let me see, this lovely little thing, this little macro pad. It's called the Ivy. It was a pretty small, I think, group buy. Powder-coated brass, machined by Selvin, run by Adrian Blau on Instagram. I don't remember his geek-hack, unfortunately. Came pre-soldered with factory mass drop Holy Pandas, yeah. Mine were super inconsistent, so I am desoldering those and relubing them. Because one is literally, I think, almost a linear with how much loop they have on it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not upset. But three switches to desolder, not a problem. And not really the group buy runner's fault. but it looks lovely. I literally have one small little issue with it, and that is that I don't know if I can show you on camera. Do you see that gap?
Yeah, I
The
can see
kind
that. Yeah.
low profile gap. Not my favorite. It definitely wasn't marketed as a low profile macro pad, but at the end of the day, it's gorgeous. And honestly, for a first grouper, I think it turned out really well.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. I think the last thing I got in was this lovely thing. I don't think these have been on sale yet. That
Ooh.
almost definitely isn't going to focus. We're gonna run with it. It's from CYO Caps. He's doing an Instagram first come first serve pay shipping only sale. For I think hitting 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Nice, that's
Um,
really cool.
yeah, crazy nice. First off, he's a sweetheart. His name is Tyler. Excellent person, A plus. So happy that he's doing so well. But like 8 months ago, at midnight in KB Artisans, he was just like, "Hey, give me a colorway, anyone." I was like, "Pastel, being me," and I don't think he ever got around to making it. And then like 2 days ago, he was like, "Remember that thing that I was gonna make and I never made? Give me a little more direction and we'll go with it." And I said funfetti, and so this is what came out, and I think it's incredible. I
Nice, that
love it
looks
when
really
people
cool.
do, yeah, interesting new things with resin. Love it. So keep an eye out for that. I think it's first come first serve, and he hasn't done it yet. So you can actually still get your hands on this, not aftermarket, and it's pay shipping only. So crazy nice.
Nice, nice, cool. Anything
Mm.
else in your list of stuff for this week?
I think that's pretty much it. I did get in the UHM and WP stems. I
Yep.
only got in two, so I can't really like 100% like give my full on opinions on them, but based on the two I got in, I'm impressed. Like I did not expect them to be as smooth as they were. So I'm going to be playing around with those a little bit more. I literally just got them in, but I'm liking them. I'm definitely gonna order when I can, like a full proper batch because the two I got are excellent.
Nice. Yeah, as
Yeah.
well, rolling into my Merkle, I got my stems in as well. They came in a couple of days ago, and I've been
Ooh.
playing with them in inks as well as other switches. And I have to be honest, once you start to use them, they do feel incredibly smooth. So I'm really excited to put these in a build and test them out. One of the things I have noticed is there's a small friction coefficient that you have to break at the top of the press. It's almost like that they don't quite feel tactile, but there's kind of like until they start moving, there's almost a kind of bit of grip to them. But once they do start moving, they're really, really smooth. So I've been really impressed with them, and I can't wait to try them on a full build. I think they'll be great. In terms of other things that I got in this week, I got in every colour of the C3 stabs. So these came in this morning. I've got just tons and tons of these, pretty much every colour. The pink ones are really cool. I really like those. We've got some blue, purple, and teal. So pretty much every colour, loads of bits and pieces. They actually come with paper washers as well, so I don't know if you can see those guys, but they come with paper washers, they come with screws, and they even come with a little Allen key as well, or a hex key, and you get a pack of those for every set of stems that you've ordered. And you also get 7U and 6.25U spacebar ones as well, so I've got like a pile of these now. They don't fit in GMK, but I've just got piles and piles of them. So expect a review soon. In terms of my hot take on these, because I have been playing around with them a little bit in a build, I've been playing around with them unlubed, so this is what one build looks like. It's completely unlubed. A little bit of rattle to them. In terms of smoothness, they're incredibly smooth. I will give them that. They do feel like cream switches in terms of the feel of them. I haven't tried them lubed yet, and I do want to do a full-on proper review where I get all of the different stabs together. So some old EPBT ones, some Zeal ones, some GMK old and new stock, some clip-ins as well as screw-in ones, the C3s and the new Evergliders ones as well. So I'm going to try and do a bit of a test build with all of the different stabilizers in, and then be able to write up some actual proper thoughts on them too. As well as that, I did get some artisans in, so I got my Cafe Latralium keycaps. So these are my first Latralium keycaps. They came in today. They're really, really nice. The camera's not going to do them justice, but I can't wait to show those off in a build stream. And then I also got a Matapora in as well. So this is my first Matapora. Again, you're probably not going to be able to see the detail on that on screen here, but it is really, really nice as well. The final two things I got in, I can't show you because they're in boxes, but I did get my polycarbonate canoe, which I haven't opened yet. I haven't even looked at that yet because that only came in about 2 hours before, well, about 2 hours before I finished work, so it's probably about 5 p.m, which is probably about 8 hours ago for me now. But I've had a bit of a nap and I had to take the wife out and pick the wife up, so I haven't had a chance to even open that yet. And I've also got a polycarbonate Lin whale to build as well, so that's going to be the build stream for this Sunday. So yeah, there we go. That's everything in my mail call. So exciting times. Two polycarbonate boards to build, but I'm really excited to build both of those. And the build on Sunday is actually for PubGoku, who's in chat, and I say it's the Lin whale, and it's also going to use Nixie switches as well, so it's going to be worth a small fortune when it's done. Yeah. Stash TV says, wait, what PC canoe? Not the V2, it's the OG one. So going to be excited to do that. We'll do a J score for both of them as well. Didn't know Top Clack is an ASMR channel. I didn't know we were. I thought we were a mukbang channel, right? I thought that's what we were.
Should we just get really close to our mics?
Really close and start whispering. I'm pretty sure no one wants to hear me do that. I think you'll have a lot more success at that than I would.
I'm just seeing no, please no in the chat.
Yeah, Gio doesn't like eating.
Not a fan.
Oh, right, okay. It was because the audio kept going left and right. I think it's just because of the way that we have the chat with through Discord. I think that sometimes affects it because we've got it cross-continent. I'm in the UK, Gasp's in the US, so it's probably about 3,000, 4,000 miles between us. So the fact we can actually do this at all is really, really impressive.
Doing our best.
Yeah, okay, so just after we've done the mail call, before we roll into the news show itself, we do have a couple of announcements to make. So the first one is around the J01 charity sale. So if you are interested in joining the J01 raffle, the link will keep popping up every 10 minutes or so in chat. Do go take a look at it. You can put $5 donation, and that $5 donation will give you a chance to win one of my J01 boards, which is probably about $700 worth of value. And there's only 15 or 16 of them around, so it's really quite a rare board. It'd be really nice for you to get hold of one of those. And as of last check with Mike, which is about 2 days ago, we'd sold 800 raffle tickets. So we're making an absolute fortune for charity at the minute. It's for a really great charity. It's for a hospice charity that looked after my mum in her final days earlier on this year. So please do go take a look at that. I do support it. Big thank you to Mike from Novel Keys for helping me set this up and collecting all the funds and doing all of that kind of good stuff as well. Apologies if the left-right audio is crap. There's not much I can do about it. It's showing fine in Discord and it's showing fine in my audio settings on Twitch, so I'm not quite sure what's causing it. It's stuttering. Yeah, nothing's changing here, guys, so I'm not sure what's causing it. I do apologise. Yeah, I'm sorry. My left side is dead. I'm not sure why it's doing it. It shows me both channels, and both channels are working just fine. No. Yeah,
I'm also getting you just fine through Discord, so something must be happening between Discord and Streamlabs.
Yeah, it looks like it might even be a Twitch issue. Yeah, I don't know. Some people are saying it's good. Some people are saying it's not so good. Brian's probably mucking around with the settings. Yeah, you're probably right, Petrov. Brian's in the background trying to sabotage it. When I get further away, it gets really bad. Let me try and move the mic a bit closer then, but it's going to get in the way. You probably see it on camera as well. Okay, that's about as far as close I can put it. It's literally like 6 inches from my mouth now. It's just there. I'm touching it, so you can't quite see it, but it's there. It's good now, brother. Okay, cool. Well, we'll go with that. We'll leave it there. It's right. I can't see this bottom half of my screen now because it's right in front of me. And we'll just assume that the audio is going to be fine for the rest of the stream. So yeah, go support the JO1 charity sale if you can. It's doing really, really well on Novel Keys at the minute. 800 tickets sold. We're raising an absolute fortune for a great charity. Support it if you can. And speaking of JO1s, I hear that you might have something to shill yourself.
Yeah, I do actually have something to show. This Saturday at 7 o'clock Utah time, I will be building not one, but 2 JO1s on stream, 2 of the 15 out in the wild. So if you're interested in seeing some tangentially Top Clack related content, feel free to tune in then. You'll see me pop up. I'll be posting all the links in chat, and my channel is just Apiary Keyboards.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you think of them. Do try and glue the gaskets together first. I think that'll help you. Okay, are we ready for some news then? Because I can see chat's going nuts. I think we've got a couple of things to catch up for first of all. Catfish, thank you very much for the 7 months of Twitch Prime subs. We really appreciate those, dude. That's really, really kind of you. I think there was one before that I might have missed. Or was it just tags people saying that Brian looked really different? I think it was people just saying Brian looked really different and tagging me. Okay, I think that's the only one. Janky Render says, my C3 steps haven't even been shipped. Yeah, I got mine through Taobao, and I had them shipped directly to Superbuy, and then from Superbuy to me, and I got them this morning, so yeah. Okay, cool. So I think it's time for us to start talking about some keyboard news, and if you're ready for that, Gasp.
Absolutely, let's go.
Cool. Okay, and Walker, thank you very, very much for the Twitch Prime sub for 16 months as well. That's a huge amount of time. 16 months. Okay, so where are we starting first then, Gasp? What's first up on the news document today?
We are looking at the ZODIAC, specifically called the ZODIAC sign. I'm going to say this wrong, inevitably. Pisces?
Pisces, yeah, that's right. Yep.
It is a keyboard group buy run by Hango1094. I'm sorry, dude, I definitely got that wrong. The mount type is listed as gasket. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. The expected price is $290. It's an all-aluminum keyboard. There's currently no information on extra PCBs, plates, or brass plate. And the group buy date that's expected is January 2020.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. So I think just in terms of this board as well, it is going to support both ANSI and ISO, and we'll talk about the layouts in a second because we noticed something before the stream that we just want to touch on from that perspective. Yes. The top mount plate will offer winky and winkeyless boards, and bear in mind that it's a top mount there. Cat on stream.
Sorry.
Here we go.
Watcher maybe.
Bear in mind that Gasp just mentioned that it does say it's gasket mount, but it also mentions it's top mount as well. So we will talk about what that means in a few minutes. But in the box, you'll also get the plate, which is 3mm thick. You'll get a 2mm thick gasket in aluminium, and we'll talk about that. A PCB, a ZODIAC paper box, and a Pisces foundation aluminium, which I think he means the insert of the badge on top by that. In terms of color options, you've got silver, matte black, dark grey, dark red, and dark green. What do you think about this, Gasp? What are your thoughts on this board?
I'm of two minds, I think. There are some interesting ideas here that I appreciate. I think it's a really cool concept. I think there's a couple of small hang-ups, perhaps. A little issues, maybe. I definitely don't think this one is for me, but I appreciate what he was trying to do with it.
Okay. What is really interesting, he's actually got a prototype here. There's a couple of things that we noticed before the stream that specifically about the prototype. First of all, it's got some huge bump-ons on the bottom of it, which are really going to affect the height and the angle of it, which is quite interesting. Secondly, the board is resting on concrete in these pictures, which is slightly worrying.
Yeah, you can even see, I think we were talking about this as well, if you look at the pictures of the prototype, and I do want to bring up the fact that he mentioned that the prototype wasn't going to be exactly the finished product, but he wanted us to look at it in terms of quality, which is why I feel like bringing this up is okay. It's kind of scratched to shit, if I can excuse my language, but there are a lot of scratches on this thing. As you look through the pictures, on the corners, on the sides of the base, it kind of hurts me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me a little sad.
Yeah, just up here on the corner of the weight, you can see that there's some scratches as well. The kind of like the base foot as well. So, yeah, I suspect the part of that is the challenge of the way he's laying this out on concrete and potentially scratching it. But I do notice some other issues with the board as well. If we just scroll back up and take a look at some of these renders, one of the things I've noticed is in this area here, we have a 65%, which has got your standard arrow keys, which looks great. You've got your ANSI enter, all looks fine from that perspective. But why is there a 1U key here when there should be a 1.75U shift key for that particular row? So it doesn't look like he's quite got the layout right. And when we take a look at the actual plate file, we can see that reflected in the plate file as well here. So this is the actual plate for the board, and the first thing I noticed was just up here, and Gasp, I think you saw this as well when we were talking about this before the stream. You can see where this has actually got a cut into the plate file just across the top there. Unfortunately, this picture zooms out when I click on it rather than zooming in, so it's difficult to show you. Let me try opening it in a new tab, see if I can zoom in. Oh.
It looks like he had to hand mill or saw or Dremel part of the plate away.
Yeah, so it looks to me as though he's either designed it for a 2U left shift and he's got the wrong stagger on the bottom row, or alternatively he's just completely got the alignment off in terms of the key spacing and things like that, because it does look like it's originally been designed for a 2 1U keys in that area up here. So 2 1U keys here rather than a 1.75 and a 1U key. So it is interesting that it's been laid out like that. I hope that's going to be fixed and remedied for the actual production run in Group By if it makes it that far. And the only other thing that we did notice as well is that, and this might be just the fact that it's throwing our eyes off because of the way we've looked at it, but the actual switch holes here do look like they're slightly on the small side, and the gaps between them, both from a row perspective and a column perspective, do look quite thick and chunky, so I'm not quite sure if the alignment's there as well. That being said, I think I agree with you, Gasp. I think I like the idea of it. I like the idea of what it's trying to portray. You know, quite a lot of people like to talk about their zodiac signs. They like to take care of that kind of stuff, and it means something to them in a personal level. I'm just not quite sure this hits it for me, and I'm not quite sure I like the Pisces logo on the front as well. I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm not a huge fan. I think having an engraving on the front is very interesting. I just don't think that, and that particular font obviously is like classic. I just don't think it goes with the design aesthetic of the whole thing.
Sure.
You have this like very beautifully like simple curved Pisces sign on the back, and then this very intricate kind of blocky and alternating with text on the front. It just doesn't quite gel for me personally. I think it's, again, interesting idea, just not 100%.
Yeah, it's also slightly skewed to the right as well. The gap between the S and the edge of the case is much further to the right than the gap from the left to the P. So that could just be a render issue, I'm not sure. But there are some interesting design features of the case as well. So whilst the interest check mentions it's both top mount and gasket, looking at the explorer view, you can see that it is top mount. There are tabs on the plate to enable it to be screwed to the top of the case, and you can see that in these areas here that I'm highlighting now. The other thing that it does have, which is what he refers to as a gasket, is actually a base plate, which is this brass base plate which connects to the actual base of the keyboard and acts as a sandwich accent around the side of the case. So you can see that in all the other designs. You can see that it's got the brass accent around the edges, but he does refer to it as a gasket, which is quite interesting, because in motors and cars and things you can have gaskets made of metal where they create a seal, but I wouldn't class this as a particular gasket. For me, this is just an accent piece. So
I would agree, for sure. I'm not really seeing gasket there.
So I think for me it's probably a pass. I'm not sure I'm interested enough in it. I like the idea behind it, but I don't think the execution's quite there yet, and I've got some concerns around the actual design as well in terms of that layout and how that looks from a 1U key in this area perspective. It just doesn't look like it's quite laid out correctly.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I love that they're trying something new. In fact, quite a few things new, I would say, but I don't think it's there for me. 100%.
Okay, I can see we've got Cat on the desk now.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm so sorry. Come on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Quite often my dog will run on stream when I'm doing build streams, and everyone demands to see her, then I have to pick her up and put her on the table. So yeah.
We'll build it as a feature and not a bug.
Exactly. Build it as a feature and not a bug. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I think we've talked enough about that. I think we probably agree that the idea behind it is a good idea. The execution probably isn't quite there yet, and the prototype doesn't look quite as high quality as we would expect.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave it there. Okay, what's up next? What have we got next?
We have the Infinitum. It's being run by Enigma. It is a top mount TKL. The price is not quite yet determined, but here is the interest check link.
It's alright, I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you think it's interesting?
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting in that and I am a known hater of TKLs, so I want to preface this with that. I think TKLs as a whole are boring, but I'm bored looking at this.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's just run through some specs really quickly. So this is a top mount board. It's got a brass plate. It's got a copper weight, which is quite interesting, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yes.
There's going to be 50 units available, which is first come, first serve. The PCB is the Heine H87A, which we all know and love from other group buys, and I've used in a couple of builds now as well. So it's got a renowned PCB maker in there, which is good to see. And there's going to be a 90 to 120 day lead time. Oh, it does use a daughter board as well. What do you think in terms of the looks of this board, Gasp? How do you feel about it?
So I do want to say, like, I said it's boring. I want to like 2 steps back here. It looks solid. I mean, it looks like there's a lot of thought and effort put into this. I don't think there's enough new there for me personally to really get excited about it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Everything looks like it's really well thought out and well done. I just, for me, I do like the copper weight, for sure.
Sure, yeah. I think the copper weight is a really interesting design feature because it's clearly embedded inside the case. And
Yes.
forgive me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's any shots of the base of the keyboard to see whether it actually comes through. But as far as I can tell, it's just an internal weight, and you can see that shining through underneath the plate in this image here. And you can see it much more clearly if I scroll down back to this image. You can see it as an inlay into the base of the inside of the case. I will say that the USB daughter port cutout is really clean. That's really nicely done. I'd love to see that on a prototype. That's way cleaner than anything I've ever done on any of my boards. So yeah, plate design as well. Interesting that it's pretty much fixed layout. There's only one bottom row option shown on this plate. There's only one where you've got steps or full caps, and that's pretty much the only change you can make to the design, whether you have steps or full caps. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I mean, coming at this from like a builder's perspective, I love fixed layout boards.
Sure.
Swiss cheese plates, and PCBs, excuse me, are like the bane of my existence. I hate them. I could go on into like a full 30-minute rant, so we'll just take like 2 steps back here and leave it at. I appreciate that it is fixed.
Okay.
I love that, and I think more boards should do that.
Yeah, I think I would generally agree. I think PCBs should offer functionality, and plates should then be fixed to as few layouts as possible. So 1 or 2 bottom rows, depending on what type of board you're doing. And then I personally prefer to do fixed versions of ISO and ANSI for my group buys. So I would tend to do ANSI as a standard one because that's what most people want, and then offer an ISO one, or at the very least offer plates up if people want to switch and choose between them. The interesting thing here as well is that the PCB does support other options. So the fact that the plate only offers those options might be something that changes with the group buy. In terms of the design of the board, I agree, it's very plain and simple. It reminds me a lot of old OTD boards, some of the original OTDs. You know, classic clean lines, straight edges, very little in terms of fillets and things like that. Very crisp and clean, but perhaps we've seen too much of that on boards recently. I'm not sure if that's kind of, for me, if that's something we've seen enough of, or if we've seen too much of now. I think I might have seen too many TKLs that just have these nice clean lines. If we'd have seen this 3 years ago, I'd have probably been more excited about it.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's
Absolutely.
just nothing terribly new.
What I do really like though is I do really like the side cuts. I'm a big sucker for side cuts and being able to get your fingers underneath the edge of a board when you're trying to lift it up. Yeah, that does work for me. I do really like that feature. So
yeah. Again, coming at this from a building perspective, my pet peeve is trying to get and again, I have tiny noodle arms, so getting my fingers underneath heavy boards and like trying to carry them as securely as possible, side cuts are the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Okay, so I think I'll be interested to see if there's more plates for this one, if other layouts are offered. I do like the internal copper weight. I think that's a really good design feature. The board's probably a little bit boring for me. It does only come in one colour as well, which is this muted blue colour, which admittedly is really, really nice. I think it's much nicer than the blue-grey that we've seen quite a lot on TGR boards recently. I think I prefer this, significantly prefer this. So I think the hardest thing will be finding keycaps to match it to.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Okay, moving on to our third topic of the day. We are going to now look at the new Mekanisk board. This is the Type X from Leandrin, who runs Mekanisk. So we've seen before boards such as the Clipper, and I think we've got a couple more boards coming that you might get to see on the show in a couple of weeks' time. Brian, I might have been hinting about something about this to you in PMs earlier on when I was asking you about colours. Just to spoil the surprise a little bit, but this is a new tray mount board, which is very, very similar in terms of its mounting points to the Noxery T60, which we reviewed on Top Clack right at the beginning of this year, which means it's only got 4 points for a 60% for its mount. It's got 2 on the left and 2 on the right, so it doesn't have that full tray mount experience. It does, however, offer a lot of flex because of this, and there's also some new innovations in this particular board that we haven't seen on other 4-point mount systems as well. So you can see here in this image there's now rubber grommets that sit over the mounting points, which mean that the PCB has a softer bottom out, and even though it's going to offer more flexibility and not have all of the rigidness of a standard tray mount board, this is also going to increase that feel by putting rubberized dampeners across all of the areas where the PCB connects to the case. In terms of the design, it's very simple. It's an angular design. It's got some side profile cuts and all of that. A very simple one-piece aluminium block. Rather attractive, if I do say so myself. And in terms of a price, as it says here, it's going to be $219 for a full kit with the case, PC plate, polycarbonate plate, and a WT60D PCB, which is by Wilbur. So this PCB is what we've seen recently, and Leandrin actually sent both Brian and I a couple of these PCBs to try out. I haven't used mine as yet, but this board might give me an opportunity to do so. And if you don't need a PCB, you can get just the K and PC plate for $165 as well. In terms of the front height, from the table to the front edge, it's 17 millimeters, so it's nice and low from that perspective as well. So you can get your fingers and your wrists right up to it from a typing angle perspective, and it looks quite interesting. How do you feel about this one, Gasp? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to be honest. When I first looked at it, I immediately was like, "Oh, tray mount, not my thing, not interested." But the more I looked at it, I appreciate that they're trying to do something a little bit different with those rubber gaskets. I'm very interested to see how it turns out. I honestly don't know. Like I'm trying to think in my mind, like, oh yeah, maybe add a little flex, but interesting.
Yeah, so I know Brian, when I sent him my T60, it took me nearly 9 months to get it back off him because he really liked the feel of this type of layout. So the T60 had exactly the same, but it didn't have the rubberized grommets, and that was really flexible and soft to type on in the center of the board. Where this changes that is it offers those rubber gaskets, and the WT60D PCB has also got flex cuts cut across the PCB as well, so it should really increase that. In fact, one of the things that Leandrin does say in the interest check is that you might want to consider putting some foam underneath the PCB just to stop any shorting out because it might touch. So I'll be interested to see how that comes, and Brian, keep an eye on your mailbox next week. You might be interested. What do you think to the colours? It comes in silver, black, and this ultramarine blue.
I think they're solid offerings. I don't think the blue is very nice actually. The more I look at it, the more I like it. Solid offerings. I like them kind of keeping it pared back to 3. I think it's a little bit better for keeping quality control easier rather than offering a million options, and also probably keeps the price down a little bit. I think they're solid. I think it offers something for everybody while keeping things kind of tight and close together.
Cool, interesting. Yeah, I think you're probably right. In terms of the polycarbonate plate, it does come in 2 flavors. You can have it an ANSI or ISO, so you can pick both of those options. So if you're an EU user like me, great. If you're a US user like Gasp, fantastic. You can have what you want. The PCB supports both, and you should be able to go from there. Interestingly, I do really like this inside badge. I know you'll never see it, but I do kind of like that they're going for the typing experience now, and they're branding that feel. I don't know how you feel about that.
I
Internal
think it's
badges.
good. I think it's good actually. Some people I know like there's basically like two keyboard aesthetic camps. Obviously a little more than that, but basically two. Either people who like really clean lines and people who like all the bells and whistles. I think this definitely is a great way of again branding it without keep putting it in the other camp, maybe keeping it more towards the clean lines, which I think is more the Mekanisk brand to some
Sure.
degree.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think from the outside the case is really nice and simple. There's no affectations on the base. There's just a few
Mm-hmm.
bump-ons. It's nice and simple, kept nice and smooth. So yeah, I think I completely agree. I'm definitely really interested to check one of these out. I'm really looking forward to this coming in the mail and typing on it for a bit, because this might be my new test bed. It might replace the T60 as a test bed. So yeah, we'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, 10 Strong saying 220 for a tray mount is pricey. Yeah, I get that. My mic out. I think it seems like it's Streamlabs and Twitch at the minute, dude. I'm sorry. Technical difficulties abound because everything looks good from my end. But yeah, I think in terms of the price for this, for me, I think for what's included, getting the case, the PC plate, and a Wilbur PCB for $219, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty
I would
good.
agree. Yeah, I think it's important to remember that that's not just the case. You are getting the plate and the PCB in there with it.
Exactly,
if it was
right?
a case, yeah. If it was just the case, I'd be right there with you. But I think I disagree that that's terribly high, even for a tray mount.
Yeah, $165 for the case and the polycarbonate plate. That is pretty good as well. I'm not sure how you can say that's too expensive. That feels really quite well priced to me, especially considering it's probably one of the most highly sought after 60% PCBs on the market right now. It's probably the most premium option.
I would agree.
Yeah. 10 Strong's mentioning that $120 was the IDB 60, right? I think it was a little bit more than that, but you've got to remember that the IDB 60 was produced to be as cheap as possible. It wasn't necessarily considered to be as high quality as possible in terms of the machining and all of those kinds of things. So it's well worth keeping that in mind. Cool. Okay. So I think we've had a look at that for a while. I'm really excited to see that go up. It is going to go on sale soon alongside the Clipper S. So as soon as the Clipper goes on sale in the next few weeks, this will go on sale at the same time, and you'll be able to pick up one of those if you'd like to. Okay, what have we got up next then, Gasp?
We have the Clueboard. It is a... Hold on. It is a... I mean, you've all seen a Clueboard. Run by Scully with an integrated super plate. The projected price is $225. We were talking about this for quite a while before this stream. You and I, Jay.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. So I think, as you said, we've all seen a Clueboard before. It does have the integrated super plate, so you can see here that the plate is integrated to the top case. It's all one piece, all machined from a single block of aluminium. It's probably against the current trend that we're seeing for boards. We're tending to see more flexible boards, whereas integrated plates are always going to be quite firm and stiff. But he has brought some changes to it, so and that's the reason why we're covering it off here. Normally we wouldn't cover off something like this, but there is some significant changes that we wanted to talk about. The first thing is no anodization anymore. There's two colours now. There's black and there's white, but both are powder coated. So interestingly, powder coat is quite thick in terms of a painting technique or a colouring technique. It's not like anodization, which is a thin layer. Powder coat can be quite thick and it can affect tolerances. So I'll be interested to see how that affects the design of the board and how that's been taken into consideration. As well as that, the PCB has now been updated and it now supports ARM chips as well. So instead of just having the standard Atmel chips in there, it now supports ARM. Better for efficiency, better for having bigger key maps, all of that kind of good stuff. So I'm comfortable from that perspective as well. And after a few complaints in the previous round about versions 2 and 3 of the board, the rear of the plate, which there isn't a good picture of, I don't think. Let me see if I can find one. The rear of the plate has now been edited. I don't think there's a good image of it. I'll see if I can find one. It doesn't look like there is a good image of it. But there. I just went straight past it. There, so here you can see on the inside of the page. No, it's going to flick off of it. On the inside of the case, there is cutouts all around for different. Hold on, let me try and do this a different way. There's bits and pieces all around the inside of the case that are cut off around here to support different stabilizers and different key supports and all of those kind of things. Those have been rectified in this round in the majority. However, one thing I will still point out is that whilst the plate looks like it is universal, this plate looks like it offers ANSI ISO support. It in fact doesn't. When you actually check the specification of the board, he pretty much calls out specifically that it's ANSI only and ISO is not supported. So my big question on this one right now is, why does the plate still have the universal cutout if he's actively removing ISO support? How do you feel about that, Gasp? What are your thoughts on that one?
It's definitely confusing, and I'm a little bit worried that, you know, your casual user isn't going to read the description, is going to see that ISO cutout, and is going to buy it and get their board in, and then realize that ISO is supported.
Yeah, so when these boards released last time, version 2 and version 3, I got a couple of these in to build from UK folks. The first one I built ANSI, it worked fine, there was no problems with it. The second one, I was asked to build in ISO layout, and I actually had my own as well at this time to build. And I actually had to Dremel the inside of the case away to get them to support ISO. So I think he's actively not wanted to try and fix that issue. So instead he's just removed ISO support, but hasn't fixed the plate to just go back to ANSI.
It's super confusing, considering the fact that he did edit the board, right? So I don't understand a little bit. I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't understand.
Yeah, hopefully Scully can reach out and tell us why that's the case, because it's quite interesting that that's been the case in particular. But that being said, just to give you some specs on it, you do have ANSI support. You can do split or non-split backspace, split or non-split shift. You have 10 different bottom row options, which seems kind of a lot for an integrated plate. And as well as that, you do also have the QMK powered PCB, which is now ARM compatible as well. Everything else stays the same, the design stays the same. Sadly, this mountain coloured board is not an option. You do only get the black or the white. I think if that was an option as a board where you could have both colours, I'd probably be more tempted to buy one, but sadly that's not available, unfortunately. Okay, what's up next then, Gasp? Anything interesting?
Yes, of course. Always something interesting. We are now into Keycap news.
Keycap news, nice.
Yeah. JTK Titan. I'm sure y'all have seen this one. It's from 43 Studio. Price is not yet announced. Interesting. Definitely an interesting design. I appreciate, again, that they are trying something new. I just want to put that out there.
Trying something new. Okay, yeah. So this is, as you said, from 43 Studio. It is a JTK keycap set. It is called Titan, and it's actually based off of the NVIDIA GeForce graphics colorway. So whenever you get an update for your graphics card, these are the colors that inspired him from that to come up with the set. Thank you, Brian, for fixing the bot. I didn't realize that was broken, but thank you for fixing that. I'm not quite sure for me that this colorway works. I'm not quite sure I like the grey bands above the alpha cluster and below the alpha cluster. I'm not quite sure that works for me. How do you feel about the colors?
I mean, it's definitely not for me. I think I've spoken that my two least favorite color combinations are red and black and green and black.
Right,
so this is the exact opposite of my sort of thing. I think if I would have gone with the bands, if you want to try the bands, I would probably have done dark on the outside and light on the inside versus the opposite.
Sure.
I think it just makes it feel a little bit unbalanced. But I do appreciate trying new things.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things I want to call out. First and foremost is there's a ton of compatibility in this set. So you've got different modifier keys for your F row. You've got all sorts of different shift keys, caps lock keys, all kind of things like that. Multiple different space bars. You've got accents. You've got accent arrows. You know, you've got your numpad in there. All really great things. However, JTK doesn't usually support ISO layouts. In this, it has added UK ISO. So, Depleted Vespine, if you're watching, I hope you're looking at the ISO set, and I hope you're going to see what I spotted as soon as I looked at this, because there is an issue with these keys. So, this is the UK ISO area of the key set, And you have the numero keys, great. You have the ISO enter, fantastic. I will note there's no accent ISO, but hey, we can't have everything. On row 3, they've got one key correct. You've got the hash and the tilde key correct. But then the other row 3 key is for some reason on row 4. So the apostrophe key is on row 4 when it should actually sit just up here. So that would then go into your key set just in this position here. So I'm not quite sure why that's wrong. I'm hoping that the designer's going to spot that, and I'm hoping they're going to fix it. In terms of the rest of the interest check, I do kind of like some of the novelty keys. The graphics card enter novelty keys, backspace keys, kind of interesting. But I think that's the only one I like. I'm not a fan of any of the others. I don't know how you feel around the rest of those novelties.
Yeah, not my thing. Definitely not my thing. A little edgy for me. I don't know how JTK is as far as like needing thick lines, but I do know I don't think those very thin lines on that graphics card novelty would work with GMK. I'm not a Keycap designer. I could be way off base, but
yeah, I think you might be right. This is JTK, so it's slightly different, but I think you're probably right. I think they would struggle with some of the design elements of that. The other thing I noticed about this interest check is that the interest check itself is very bland. There's no renders. There's a better shot of the keycap there. I do like that design. I'm just not sure if it's possible, as you said. But there's no renders. There's no vision of what this looked like on a board. There's no other information in terms of when and how much it might cost or anything like that. It is very much a case of this is what they're looking at and that's it. So I don't know if this set's going to go anywhere. For me, the colorway doesn't quite work. There's some problems with the compatibility that they absolutely need to fix. I really dislike the JTK Windows keys. I'm not quite sure why they would put those in there. I'm not sure how you feel about those, Gasp. Do you like them or do you not? Bearing in mind, I was going to say I am going to judge you on your answer to this. So
no, they're not for me. But whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I appreciate those, but it's interesting to see new compatibility from JTK, and that's the big positive we can take away from that.
Yes, okay. Absolutely.
Okay, Eskimojo is saying that Miguel did spot that. Okay, yeah, he's already pointed out. Sorry, I can't keep up with chat when I'm talking it through. So Depleted Vespine, if you did see that before, yeah, it was the first thing that jumped out at me. I know we don't always see eye to eye, but I think we'll see eye to eye on that. If they're going to put that in, they need to get that right, and that is wrong. So yeah. Okay. Okay, so moving on from that, I don't think there's anything else to say on that particular interest check, but we do now have the Polar Knight interest check from GTRX. So this is GTRX's second keycap set, I believe. I think he's doing GMK Nord, which is due to run in January, which is about to start soon. But this is Polar Knights. Do you want to talk us through this one a little bit?
Absolutely. So, like you said, it's run by GTRX. If I may give my opinions, I actually really, and I feel like this is going to be a very fitting for the name, a very polarizing set.
Ooh, nice.
I love again. I don't know if you've noticed this theme running, but I love when people are trying something new, and certainly these really low contrast alphas with these really high contrast modifiers are something new. At least what looks like very intentionally is very new. I think it gets away with it because it is so intentional, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's a fair and valid opinion. I disagree personally. I think that the contrast on this set is going to make it really difficult to even read. So I mean, if you look at the layout here, I mean, unless I look really closely, I can't even see the legends on the alphas. They seem to be incredibly low contrast, and it's very difficult to read them. On the renders, it's a little bit more legible, but I wouldn't say that it was great particularly there either. And the subtle difference in colour between the modifier caps and the alpha caps, I'd rather keep them the same, but they do look slightly different in these renders. I'm not sure if that's just my calibration on my monitor, or whether that's actually the way it's designed. But in this as well, it does look like these modifier keys are a slightly different shade compared to the alpha keys, and I'm not quite sure I appreciate that. That being said, what I will say is I do really, really like the modifiers. The actual modifiers with the different pastel colours on, they work quite well. I kind of like those. I like the accent enter and escape. I like the fact that it's got ISO support. I can't tell which keys it supports from an ISO perspective because I can't read the legends on them. But, it would be really nice if this was a little bit more legible to read.
Mm. I do want to. I feel like it's very intentional that it is hard to read. I do. I have that premonition maybe. I'd be interested to talk to the designer actually and see kind of what's going on.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that soft pink would be a nice legend color for the alphas, and that
Honestly,
might just brighten it up a little bit. Yeah. Because I do really like the colors. I'm not sure. To me, the alphas seem a little bit more purplish, and the modifiers seem a little bit more blue. I'm not. I think I'd prefer it as a monochrome set, so keep one or the other. I wouldn't mind which, but I would be interested to see what that would look like with that soft pink all across the alpha legends as well. Okay. What about in terms of compatibility? How do you feel about the compatibility in this set?
I think it's there. Let me scroll up so I can look at it a little bit better.
I'm trying to work out what it does support from ISO, but I'm struggling to read the legends. Okay, so it's depleted restroom. We came up with a new name for Atlantis ISO, as you called it. I can't remember what the new version that we came up with was, but it supports that version of ISO. So it has the R4 cap with pipe and slash on, and it has the R3 cap with tilde and hash on. No UK or Germanic languages or any other EU languages support on there. So it's very basic ISO in that respect.
Yeah, it is definitely a little bit limited as far as compatibility goes. Actually, the more I look at it, the more I notice.
Do you see the really big glaring problem with it?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot. Just say it, Jay.
So there's two kits. There's the main kit and there's the spacebar kit. The main kit doesn't have a numpad, and there isn't a numpad kit anywhere. So even if you do want a numpad for this set, you can't get one unless that's going to change. Yeah. Interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. So there you go. Anything else you want to talk about on this one?
No, I don't think so. I'm intrigued. I do think I agree with you in that it would probably be better to have those high contrast alphas. Absolutely. I mean, it definitely would appeal to more people. I think, again, this is absolutely going to be a very polarizing set, but I think I can appreciate it at the very least.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing to say as well on this one is he does want to run it through Infinitum rather than GMK, so that's a reverse die sub company. And I think there's actually a post a little bit further down the interchange. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, here it is from our very own Eskimojo, showing this is the kind of compatibility you can get from a standard $120-ish Infinitum set. So if that's the Infinitum kind of opportunity, and that's another example of an Infinitum base kit set, which is absolutely huge and diabolically massive, to be honest with you, because I think when we counted that one's got 17 space bars in it or something. Okay. Why does this particular Infinitum set only have such limited compatibility?
It's a good question. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't think we know the answer. I think the main difference for me is there's more colours in this one, but again, I'm not sure how that much would affect the price given its die sub caps rather than double shot. So yeah. Interesting. Okay, moving on then, we will move back to GMK. We'll be glad to know there is some GMK news this week. The first one we've got up from a GMK perspective is GMK Burgundy. This is round 3 of Burgundy. Oh, I thought you were going to miss the link there. I pasted it as well, so we both got it. You were just as fast as me there. Well done. So this is GMK Burgundy round 3. So we've seen round 1 and round 2 with some differences in terms of opportunity of what you can get from a Keycap perspective in round 1 and round 2. And now Coco Bray is back with round 3. This time he's going to be running it through Dixie as the main vendor, and MyKeyboard.eu, Daily Clack, Z Frontier, and Island KB are going to be the other vendors for the rest of the world as well. But in terms of the changes to this set, there is a few new changes. So first and foremost is that the modifiers are now going to use Dixie's centered legends for the icons. They're not going to follow the traditional step up and use the traditional molds. So he's going to use Dixie's new molds. Secondly, there's also a Dixie cap in here as well, which wasn't in the original sets either. So that's something new that's added. And in terms of the other keycaps that are new as well, I don't believe that the the LED windowed keycaps were available in earlier rounds as well. Please forgive me if I'm wrong on that. I'm going off memory, but as far as I remember, those weren't available either. So there is a few changes to this keycap set. How do you feel about this one, Gasp? What are your thoughts?
You know, I like the changes. I'm going to say it. I really like the changes. I like the centered molds. I like the X cap. I like everything that's going on with this personally. Windowed keys are not my super favorite. That's like the one thing that I'm like on. But beyond that,
Okay.
I like it. I didn't really understand the X controversy. There was a little bit of controversy. I'm sure we don't really want to go into that, but I didn't get it. I thought it provided extra compatibility where needed as an F13 key, and I thought it fit with the set personally, but whatever.
Yeah, okay. I would probably take a different stance. Personally, I'm not a fan of the centered legends. I prefer the traditional ones. I know I'm in the minority for that, and most people do prefer the new ones. Secondly, I do find it interesting that Dixie included his cap. I think it's becoming his brand standard for any keycap set that he works on or is involved in. He's putting that in there. I think there's arguments for both sides of the argument as to whether it should be there or it shouldn't be there. And I think at the end of the day, for me, that's a decision that needs to come down to the designer and Dixie to work on together and see how they both feel about it. However they come to a resolution on that should be down to them. I don't think Dixie should enforce it being there, but he's absolutely well within his rights to suggest it being there, and I think that should be something they work through together. And I disagree with you vehemently on the windowed caps. They're amazing. I love windowed caps.
That's fine.
We don't see them often enough. I like to use GMK Muted just because it's got the windowed keycaps in there. The other big thing I do notice about this set as well is that the split space bars, you usually have alpha coloured split space bars, but these are all modifier coloured, so that's turn away from the usual stand. I don't ever use split space. I don't know how split space users will feel about that, so we'll be interested to see that. That's
a good point. Yeah. I do want to make note, this isn't mentioned in the interest check, but it was mentioned, I believe, in the top Clack channel or keyboard talk Discord. Dixie mentioned not too long ago that he was not the one who suggested the X. It was actually the designer who wanted to put that in, and he suggested the designer use their own logo.
Oh, so really?
Yes. So my understanding is that Dixie is not forcing people to put in an X. He's trying to get people to put in their own logos to provide that extra compatibility. I could have that wrong, but that is what I remember.
Fair enough. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That sounds more like the Dixie I know and love. So yeah, that's definitely good to hear. How do you? I think this is the first set after 9009 that's got its third round now. How do you feel about keycap sets rerunning over time? Do you think that's something that the community needs and wants, or do you think it's better to have new key sets running more often?
I think there definitely needs to be a balance struck between the old and new key sets. Some of the older key sets, frankly, don't hold up to the newer key sets that are coming out. However, I think having key sets rerun, especially ones that are particularly popular like 9009, is 100% like a great thing. It keeps the aftermarket from exploding. It allows people who are coming into this hobby, which is exploding as well, gives them that chance to get it at a decent price. Yeah, I have zero problems with them rerunning, as long as they're not just rerunning, a set that maybe didn't do so well or that people aren't really asking for, if that makes sense.
So no GMK Handabite reruns?
Perhaps not. I'm sorry, Krell.
Okay, yeah. Okay, fair enough. I think I'd broadly agree. I think there's other key sets that have been done massive justice in the community. So Laser sold thousands of sets. We've seen 2 rounds now of Oblivion. I'm not quite sure we'll be ready to see a round 3 of it. I think Minimal would do well if that ran again, so I think there is merit behind it. But I think just at the minute we're probably seeing a lot of GMK fatigue in the market, and things haven't quite met MOQ as often as they were doing earlier on this year. We have seen, for example, one of the things we might talk about later on is GMK Sparta, which has been sadly pulled, and I know 159 pulled his Rocket Lolly set as well a few weeks ago. So yeah, it should be interesting to see how we get on with that.
Absolutely.
One set I think everyone wants to see run again though is GMK Muted, and I think that is a big gap in the market right now. So yeah,
I wholeheartedly agree. Please rerun GMK Muted. Personally.
Yeah, I think I'm among about 15 people that have asked J-Chan if we can rerun it, and he said no to every single person. So I think the best we're gonna have is GMK Modern Dolch Lite. I think that's the closest we're gonna get. Junkie Render, what mic do I use? I use the Rode NT. I don't think it's a microphone problem because the microphone in my mixer settings and in Streamlabs settings and everywhere else is showing just fine. It seems to be fine on Gasp's end as well when she's hearing me. I think this is just an issue somewhere between Streamlabs and Twitch. So I'm not quite sure what the issue is there, but because the bitrate's fine, that's excellent at 19,000 kilobits per second. Or whatever it is, I don't know the numbers, but it's fine. Nothing's dipping. I've not got any missed frames. I don't know what's causing it, so I'm sorry, guys. I do apologise. Okay, so what's next on our list?
We are looking at GMK Mudbeam, which has a place close to my heart because it is based off of an artisan colorway by Binge.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. The artisan maker Binge himself.
Okay, so do you know a little bit about this? Can you tell us a bit about this one then?
Absolutely. So it is being run by Scud80. And so if I can give a little bit of artisan background, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
This was one of the early 4x4, if I remember correctly, colorways by Binge. Hungerworks Studio, I think, is his official artisan name. And so basically Scud said, hey, Binge, I'm looking, I love this set, I love these colors, I want to make a set out of it, can I? And Binge is like, absolutely, go ahead. I believe, if I remember correctly, he's even showing, or sharing is the word I was looking for, his his color formula for the specific
right, okay, nice
purposes. So like hopefully this should be a very excellent match if you happen to have the set. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. They aren't my usual colors, but it's fun to see some of the excellent colorways that artisan makers have come up with come to life in set form.
Yeah, okay, so what I will say about this, I think this is the first time we've ever seen it done this way round, where a key set has been based on an artisan colorway. We always see artisans based on key set colorways, and just to flex a little bit, I got my Bing Sukipura shipping notification earlier on, so 159, thank you very much for that. I was excited when that came through. But I think this is the first time it's been done the other way, and I'm not sure how many people are going to have that set of artisans. I imagine there's only a handful of each.
Oh yeah, not too many. I mean, if it is if I remember correctly, it is a 4x4 colorway. It was kind of a fulfillment sort of sale, but still not many in the grand scheme of how many people are in the hobby. However, I do think personally, and you can disagree with me, that this holds up as a GMK colorway in and of its own. I think it looks fine as a key set. I don't think this was meant to be like specifically to match the artisans if you had them, but rather, hey, these colors look excellent and would look great as a key set.
Yeah, okay. I think I agree from that perspective. Do you know what this actually reminds me of? It reminds me of a yellow version of GMK Coniferous. It feels like it's got, you know, that kind of beigey alpha colour with the dark grey mods, and instead of the green legends, it's got yellow legends. It kind of feels like that to me, does this set. And do you know what? I kind of like it. I didn't think I would. When I saw the artisans, I really liked those, and I thought, these artisans look great. I actually kind of feel like I'm going to look out for a couple of these, especially for that Fugthulu, because that looks amazing. But I didn't think that I was going to like the key set. And then when I scrolled down, and it was kind of at a distance, I'm like, that just looks like Yolch mixed with Coniferous, and I'm not quite sure. And then the more I looked at it, and I saw the non-accent version here that we can see on the bower, I was really impressed with that, and I did really like it from then on. I definitely don't like the yellow accent keys, but I do like the modifiers. Just looking at the compatibility, do you want to walk us through what boards this will or won't cover?
I've got to scroll up. Sorry, I was getting very into reading the interest check. Honestly, they have an ergo and ortho compatibility set, space bars, which should cover, I mean, just about every board, I would say. Numpad, great. Honestly, I think the compatibility is pretty strong here.
Yeah, I think even looking at the base kit covers pretty much a lot of the options that we'd see today. There's no numpad, there's no ISO support in base kit. They are split out into a kit joint, which kind of makes sense. They'll bolster each other. The sales of the numpad will bolster the ISO production. The ISO sales will bolster the numpad production. So those should meet MOQ together if this set does run. It's interesting to see an Ergo and Orthodox keycap set run as well. Usually we only see these run on mass drop, and I don't think we've ever actually seen an assembly kit like this run successfully on any other vendor. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Chat always knows if I'm wrong when I say stuff like this. They always call me out, and they'll come up with an example of some obscure set that I've never heard of that did this. But look, see, Undercover Brother has come up with Calm Depths. There we go. Right, okay. I didn't realise that GMK Calm Depths did one, but it had to be brought out. Okay. So it is unusual to see that. I don't like the idea of doing this additional optional keycap set with all of these space bars. That feels like just too much. If you're going to put these accent space bars in, put them in for split, I'm not sure I see the need for that. But even the spacebar kit's massive as it is, so again,
I do feel like they were trying to cater to everybody, and I think a lot of times that kind of bites sets in the butt a little bit.
Yeah,
they wind up having kits fail as a result, so that is a little bit worrying. I agree.
Yeah, I would like to see renders of the base kit as well. It's nice to see renders of the keycaps on a board, but I'd like to see a render of the base kits laid out too. And it's unusual to see an Ergodox render, so that's nice. It's nice to see some more obscure layouts getting some love. That's always good to see.
One thing I was actually like super impressed with was the novelties. I'm a sucker for good novelties specifically. Bad novelties just make me sad, but I genuinely really like these novelties. I think the dynamite one is very clever. If you scroll down and look, there's like the 4 across so that you can put them across and have them kind of work together, but they also look decent apart. I think that's quite clever. I enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what the idea behind these novelties is? Do you know where that comes from?
Tell me, Jay.
Oh, I'm asking you because I don't know. I don't know.
I believe they mentioned it in the interest check somewhere in the thread, but I can't remember exactly what it was. Here it is. So they plan to offer. I'm just gonna read straight from it. They plan to offer individual wire keycaps in both colors in whatever quantity is desired, so that you can string the plunger wire and dynamite across the whole F row. So you could do both sets if you wanted.
Okay, interesting. I get that.
So I think the idea is specifically for the F row.
Right. Okay. And why those particular? Does it say in here? I'm trying to read through to see why those being picked.
Yeah. So the colorway was inspired by, according to Binge, was inspired by mud kind of coming up through the pavement, and so they wanted to take that as like the theme and inspiration for the entire set, which I think works, and you can kind of see through it. Like the whole idea of like a city that's kind of broken apart and demolition and that sort of thing. Okay,
so urban demolition and revitalization. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Again, I'm not a fan of the red keys, not a fan of the yellow keys, but the base keys I think look all right. I think it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I think they do need to reduce the number of kits and things specifically if this is going to run, because there's just too much here. The K-tunes for everyone, and it needs really pairing back to make sure that they've got the right kits for this to sell and make up. I do agree that I'd like some of the novelties, even though I didn't realise that was what the reference was going for. I really like this backspace key here with the bulldozer on. I think that's really cute. Some of the other ones with the heavy machinery on are really cool as well. But I do like anything with an engine, so that's just me.
I like how they thought about what they were putting on it too. Like the enter key is like a drill entering the pavement. You said the bulldozer key is coming backwards. I like it. I think I love novelties with that put in.
Yeah. One of the interesting things as well is you couldn't have put this drill going into the pavement on the vertical enter key on the horizontal ANSI one, but you could have put that on an ISO enter key. Just saying. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think we've talked about this one enough. And I think this is actually our last keycap set for this week, isn't it?
It sure is, yeah.
Okay, so...
Only 3.
Yeah, wow. What's up next?
Up next are the Laseron Switches. Let me pull up the link here. I'm a little slower this time. Run by Mito and KBDfans. I'm looking at the specs. They're very interesting. So we have a 2mm actuation and 4mm travel. No loose leaf problems specifically mentioned. Gold-plated leaves and custom-made gold-plated springs, and they are shipping soon.
Okay, interesting. So I think these are not being sold as a group buy on KBDfans. These are actually going to ship pretty much straight away. So first couple of weeks in December, these are actually going to start shipping out to people, and I think the aim is to get them out before Chinese New Year. I think Wei mentioned in one of his email updates that he's going to have 40,000 of these. I think, yeah, 40,000 pieces, and it's going to go up for sale on Black Friday. So we're covering this a little bit early, but given it's Black Friday tomorrow, I just wanted to make sure we're covering it off for you guys too, and making sure that everyone had an opportunity to look at these. So Mito has actually sent Brian and I some of these switches. I think Brian's still got a pack. He shipped me a pack a few days ago. I'm still waiting for them to get over here. They are just a recolored Gateron, but it's really interesting to see that Mito is specifically calling out that the leaves on these are fixed. They're not going to be have the loose leaf problem we've seen on some of the Gateron switches and ink switches in the past few weeks and months, so that's really good to see. There's two different options from this perspective. There's the Cyan switch, which comes at 60 grams, and then there is also the pink switch, which comes at 70 grams. So depending on which weighting you pick, you will get a different coloured stem. In terms of the spring, I think these are gold-plated springs, which are new and custom-made. So these aren't the standard Gateron stems. Springs. There's no information in here about it, but it was in Mito's email shot earlier on today. So it'll be interesting to try those out and see whether the springs are actually any good or not. I'm going to be really interested to see how those play out. And I'm probably going to put them in my polycarbonate canoe, and it might actually give me an opportunity to open GMK Laser, which has been sat on my desk, still sealed for about 2 years now. I've never actually opened it, so interested to do that. Yeah.
Good excuse, yeah.
Okay. Have you had a chance to have a try of any of the prototypes of these flying around, or?
No, not at all. People don't say. Come on, who do you think I am, Jay? But I am definitely 100% interested in seeing if the springs are any good.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued as to why and where they got them from, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'll be interested as well, because Mito doesn't say in his email shot. I have reached out and asked him, but he hasn't responded as yet. I'm just wondering if they are some other Gateron spring that we just haven't seen before, or if they really are something new.
Exactly.
Interestingly, these are just, at the end of the day, another recolored Gateron is the way of looking at. There's one way of looking at these, and at $6.50 for 10 switches, so 65 cents a piece. That's a little bit more than what you would pay for, say, a Milky Tops Gateron Yellow or Gateron Black. I'd be interested to see how these actually feel and sound. I suspect they'll be fine. I don't think they'll be a bad switch at all, but whether they'll stand up to some of the more modern switches that we've seen, such as Inks or the Marshmallow switches that Brian's recently reviewed, which you can check out on Top Clack website. There is a full review by Brian on there. Go check it out. Go have a read. He gives his thoughts and lowdown on the Marshmallow switches. Whether these will be as good as that, who knows? But I'm dead excited to try some out anyway.
Yeah, me too, actually. I'm very intrigued, 100%.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so moving into our last topic of today, we now have the interest check for the Naptime, which is a really, really cute name for an artisan case. So why don't you talk us through this one, Gasp?
Absolutely. So it is run by K22. The price is expected to be 120 to 150 USD. The layout is 8x5, so 40 total. That, I think they mentioned specifically that may change. So it is an aluminum body, no specific grade yet, that's to be decided as well, and an acrylic lid that is not shown in the interest check yet. The display angle on it is 10 degrees. And the color options, the factory that they are working with has offered silver and black, and they want to make dark gray available for 10-ish units. We will see.
Okay, interesting. I really like this. I'll be honest. I think this is great, and I'm definitely going to try and get one. And if I really like the idea of a dark grey one as well. Just looking at the cut here, you can see quite just how deep the caps will sit into the into the artisan slots as well, so they're going to be nice and secure in there. And obviously it comes with a piece of perspex as well to cover the top of the case. But I think this looks really rather nice. It's a display case as well as an artisan safekeeping box, which all of the ones I have are flat. I don't know if you have artisan boxes or anything, or how you keep yours, but mine are all flat, and you know, they tend not to work, and if you tip them up they do fall out and can fall around a little bit. This looks like it's going to be a lot more secure, and I really like the look of it as well. It looks great. In terms of pricing, they do think the price is going to vary depending on how many people order, but it's going to be between $120 and $150, not including shipping. But I think that's pretty reasonable for something that's milled out of a single block of aluminium. It's going to be quite solid. It's going to be quite hefty. I think it's really cute, really nice. Right? Are you going to be tempted by one of these?
No, I actually don't like it. Yeah, a hard no for me. I'm going to be entirely honest, but also like I want to mention that this isn't really made for my use case.
Okay.
Yeah, let me explain. This is going to take up a lot of desk space, which I personally don't have. I don't like it being at a fixed angle. I actually display my artisans currently in a 10x10 that I mount vertically. Which obviously you can't change the viewing angle on this at all. It just kind of sits. There's no anything. And also as a case, it doesn't work as anything other than display. A lot of the reason why the people who are into artisans, I know obviously you want it to look nice, but part of it is you need portability. So I would prefer there be perhaps a stand with a flat case. That way you can take your artisan safely to and from meetups. Because it is like that fixed angle, I think that's why they're not really worrying about some sort of tip test or worrying about tolerance as far as the top goes.
Sure.
Yeah, if you allow for SA keycaps, it means that if you tip that, anything that's cherry profile or lower is probably going to rattle. But obviously that's not a worry here because it's not moving.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Well, I think it's really cute. I'm definitely going to try and buy one.
It's definitely, I think, dependent on your use case, right? Like if you just want something very nice to display your artisans for, I think it's perfect for that. That's just not.
I can just see me having 5 or 6 across my desk and having them all full. I think that would be really nice. I don't know.
Really cute. Yeah. No, I'm not having an opinion at all. I think you're right. I think it's excellent for displaying artisans, and I think it's really well thought out as well. It just doesn't work for me.
Fair enough, fair enough. What about the name? How do you feel about the Naptime?
Oh my god, the name is so cute. I am 110% for the name. Perhaps part of the reason why I'm so disappointed it won't work for me is because of the name.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
See, it will work perfectly for my use case because I keep a lot of my more favoured artisans just underneath my monitor, and I keep them in a flat tray at the minute. And it does make it hard to see what's on the bottom row. I have to lean right over to see what's on the bottom row. Just having that bit of angle would be quite nice. And yeah, I think 3 or 4 of those just underneath my monitor would work quite well for me. But yeah, I can appreciate it's not for everyone. And I'm really sad that I didn't get one of those big wooden ones that ran a couple of months ago where you could fit 200 keycaps in them. I really wish I'd have got one of them, but I didn't. Okay.
Doing a little artisan there with his looking for 200 spaces.
yeah, absolutely. Existentially yours, thank you very much. Raiding with a party of 9. Welcome guys to the show. Thank you very much for joining us. Talisman Solutions as well with the 1,111 bits. So that does put him on now. What's that put him up to? 121,111 bits across the whole show. So wow, that's a huge amount. Thank you very much for that. And Talisman Solution has just gifted a sub as well. 210 gift subs now in the channel to Trey Pop. So thank you very much, and Trey Pop, congratulations on your new gift sub. There we go. I don't think we've missed any other ones. I'm just going to look back and see if we have missed any other people.
Just quick double check.
Oh, Talisman did donate one bit earlier on as well. The ones he donated were actually for you. The 1,111. He's put the apiary prong emote in there for you as well. So
Thank you, Talisman.
Okay, so we did miss a couple of subs, so I'm just going to catch up on those before we jump into the next section. So Vomin Doran, thank you very much for the tier 1 sub for 16 months. He says, Brian, you're looking very, very pretty today.
Thank you.
Cool, there we go. Okay, When am I going to stream the PC Canoe? Probably a couple of weeks away from now. So I'm waiting for some switches to come from Brian, but I'll talk about that at the end of the show. This week it's going to be a polycarbonate Lin whale board, and then next week it's going to be a board that I'm building for Laser Boost. So Joan from Laser Boost, who's the rep that, if you've ever spoken to them, that's who you're speaking to, is Joan. She wants a keyboard. She doesn't have her own custom keyboard, so I'm going to build one out of bits and pieces that I've got lying around and send that to her as well. So it will be after those two builds. And Jeff Leopard, making sure I don't feel left out. He says, Jay looks very handsome every day. Thank you very much, man. Usually Mr. Petrov is complaining about my hair and ripping me to shreds about my hair for whatever reason. I don't know why he dislikes it so much, but yeah, usually I get that. So there we go.
Classic Petrov. And
Talisman Solutions, thank you very much for the second gift sub as well of the night there to S&F Oil. So thank you very much, and well done for that as well. Cool. Okay, so with that done, it's now time to jump into our sponsor section. And first up, we've got zealpc.net/TopClack. That is an affiliate link. If you do use that affiliate link, TopClack does get a small kickback. It really does help Brian and I out when we're sorting out the show and when we're trying to order things for the show and make everything work as seamlessly as it does, even though my audio is terrible today, and I do apologize about that. But Zeal does have some great products available on the website. The standard lot of switches are all on there as always, so if you're looking for any Zelios for your Felios, then do take a look at that. There is a Black Friday sale that's going to be on now, as it says right across the top here. Black Friday pre-sale is now live, 15% off everything and free shipping over $150 in the US and Canada, and $200 to the rest of the world. So 15% is off everything right now, so do make the most of that if you can. V2 lineup, as we said before, is always there. So the switches that we know and love, some of my favourite tactile switches, if the website decides to load, are the Zelios V2. Where we go. Come on, website, it's taking forever to load. There it is. Zelio V2 come in a variety of different weights. Please do go check them out. If you haven't felt a tactile switch in a long time, these will absolutely blow your mind. They're some of the best tactiles on the market. There's also silent variations. There's also Helios, which are the linear versions of silence, and Telios, which are quite possibly the smoothest stock switch on the market right now, without being touched or changed or tweaked. So if you are in the market for some Zelios and you want to get your Felios, do go check it out now while the Black Friday pre-sale's on, because that's not on for long. You've only got a bit of time, so go check it out. Go do it. Okay, who've we got up next?
We have Novel Keys at novelkeys.xyz. Make sure if you buy anything from Novel Keys, use the promo code CLACKERS. Right now they have the GMK Analog Dream going. Excellent set by my boy P. Wade of GMK Tarot fame. Also, make sure that you support the JO1 raffle by buying your JO1 raffle tickets there. They are, again, supporting an excellent charity, the Sue Ryder charity. Please consider it, and that ticket will enter you to win, potentially, a JO1. Excellent board.
Yeah, it's actually sat right at the side of me right now, so yeah, it's all boxed up, ready to go to the winner. Yeah.
They are also currently running It's Just a White on Black. Excellent set, 10 out of 10. I might pick one up as well. And then they are currently offering custom-made switch testers with your choice of 12 switches. Excellent. That's a great gift for the Secret Santas that are going on right now.
Absolutely.
As well as just anybody new to the hobby. Switch testers saved my life when I was new to the hobby, so I'm so happy they're offering those.
I just want to call out this list as well. Look how far I have to scroll to get through this list of switch options.
Insane.
It's just absolutely crazy how many switches Mike's offering for these. Absolutely huge amount of switches that you can pick and choose for those. So yeah, definitely check them out. Third up this week, we've got Kono.store. Kono is running pretty much every GMK set that's up available at the minute. They've got everything from Umbra, Sharkbait, Assi, Hugo, and Ursa all for sale at the moment. Ursa is quite possibly having one of my favourite ISO add-on kits as well, with that lovely Paddington bear. It's quite possibly one of my favourite sets of this year as well, is this one. So please do go check it out. Again, the website's not working, it's not going on to the render. There we go. Ursa looks great. There's all the other kits as well. So Hugo is also struggling, guys. I think this has only got something like 50 base kits sold now. If you do like Hugo and you want to support this this fantastic set that takes novelty to a whole new level, please do go check that out. You've not got long left to join these group buys. They're all running until mid-December, so you know, do check them out. Ursa, I think, actually runs until January, so there is a little bit longer on that as well. But please do go check them out. There's a lot of sets to choose from on Kono right now.
Next up, we have KBDfans at kbdfans.cn. They're currently offering those Laseron switches we mentioned earlier. Run 3 colors of the cat switches that are in the colors of laser. They're also running a Tofu 96. If you like your sharp corners, that's the place to go. And then also SA Mo Chaco, the SA set. Lovely. Also, 100% the best place to get your entry-level kits. Like, absolutely. I think that's the #1 place I recommend when people are coming to me saying, where do I start with a custom? 100% KBDfans. Excellent prices and so many options. Incredible.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with them, because they support everything, no matter what layout you want, whether you want 60%, 75%, 20%, 10% boards. They've got something for everyone. Something for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And finally, just on KBDfans as well, don't forget to check out the B store. I can't even get to it because my screen is too short. Don't forget to check out the B stock store. There we go. Get into it now, where you can see they've got all of these lovely boards and kits that have got lots of money knocked off of them. Well worth checking out. And of course, KBDfans will be having a Black Friday sale as well, which I think it might have actually already finished. Actually, I think they were having it early. I'm not sure if that's already finished or not, but anyway, yeah, go check them out. KBDfans, they're great for the community. And then rolling into our final sponsor for today, we've got the Key.company, run by Jason, with help from Rise and Mintlodica and all of those other guys that we see around all of the Discords. They've got a ton of stuff available right now. I was going to shout out GMK Sparta, because that's one of my favourite sets of the year as well. That and Ursa were going to be my 2 purchases this month, but sadly that has had to be cancelled. That being said, they do have the group buy running right now for the SP111, which we talked about last week, which is a Southpaw split keyboard, which looks really elegant, designed by Blind Assassin. It's really, really interesting, and well worth taking a look at. There's also worthwhile looking at some of the in-stock items, which is extras of DSA Scientific, where you can get most kits still available, and also GMK Ski Data 2. As well, they are going to have a Black Friday sale. It's not open just yet. Or is it? It wasn't when I looked earlier on. Oh, it is. The Black Friday sale's on. There you go, guys. There's lots of stuff that you can look at. Lots of stocking fillers here for Secret Santas. There is RMK shirts. There's Panda hoodies and t-shirts. There's Nixdorf computer t-shirts. Lots of great stuff, including some key-rated blank keycaps for just $18 as well, which are a really good buy. And these support some great layouts as well, so you've even got ISO support here, very minimal, but you know, you can do pretty much anything with these keycap sets, and they're only $18 each, down from $24. And look at all the colors. If you need a cheap colorway, you know, absolutely easy to look at that. Prussian blue, ultramarine, really nice. Cool. Okay, and that does conclude our sponsors for today. So we're now going to move into our Q&A section, guys. So if you've got any questions for either Gasp or myself, now is the time to start putting them into chat. Just while we're waiting for some questions to come into chat, Gasp, what have you got coming up other than the JO1 builds? Have you got anything else exciting over the next few weeks?
I actually do. So I have those 2 JR1s that I'm building on Saturday. One more time, quick plug. This Saturday. Slightly tense, Clack related, should be fun. That's 2 out of 15 of the ones out in the wild. And then, at an undisclosed point in time, we are working on a commissioned key cult. So keep an eye out on my socials for that if you want. I'm very, very excited for this build. It will most likely be next Wednesday, but I don't want to promise anything. And I stream at 7 o'clock Utah time, because I mentioned a couple of people asking what time. I should clarify. 7 o'clock Utah time.
Cool. Is that a key cult number 2 that you're going to be building then, or?
Yes.
Nice. I was talking to Mike the other day, and he's like, "Oh, I need someone to build my my number 2." And I'm like, "Just pop it in the post, mate. I'll build it. It's fine. It's fine." Yeah. So I think he's actually going to do that as well now. He's actually going to post it over to me. So I'm excited to do them because I've done quite a few number 1s now, but I've not done a number 2 yet. So I'd be interested to see that.
I'm in the same exact spot. I'm so excited to build my first number 2.
Nice. Yeah. A lot of number 2s on stream. Yeah, that sounds really bad when I say it like that. Lots of number 2s on stream. But,
oh no.
Okay, guys. So if you have got any questions, do let us know. Do tag us at TopClack so we can see the questions. I'm going to scroll back up and see what we've been asked. So the first one comes from don't be shy. Ask anything you'd like, anything else. Nothing is off bounds. We've got a good 20 minutes, half an hour for us to talk through stuff. So
nothing that won't get us banned on Twitch at least.
Good point. Yeah, don't get us banned from Twitch. Yeah, we might not read it out if it'll get us banned from Twitch. But the first one comes from Janky Render, and he says, "No, you just look super skinny now. What's happened?" Nothing's happened. Brian was just away for the day. Gasp was very kind enough to agree to come and join me on stream today. So thank you very much, Gasp, for doing that.
Anytime.
Second question comes from Janky Render again. He says, it's not even a question. He says, only buy Zealios for Melios. If you want to eat switches, you go ahead. But yeah, they're not for me.
Just put them in a blender and powder in your smoothie.
Talisman Solutions is swiping right on me. Thanks. Is that the right? Is that a good swipe or is that a bad swipe? I don't know which way is the good swipe.
Right is good. Right is good.
Okay.
Take the compliment. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a compliment, not an insult. Okay. 10 Strong said the C3 stab wires need filing. Interesting. So I actually have some C3 stabs here. I haven't played around with them too much yet. I've put them in a board. My current hot take is that I'm really interested to see what these actually feel like in comparison, but I haven't had a chance to delve them into them too more. But I can see what you mean. The wires do look like they're a little bit long. I don't know how well that's going to show up on stream, but they do look like they're a little bit long and they're almost touching the back housing. And I can see that if on off-center hits and presses and twisted angles, that might actually happen. So I'll definitely have a look at that 10 strong and include that in my review once I do it.
Interesting.
Sashimi subscribed at tier 1 for 16 months on a 16-month streak. He says, happy to see a new face and hope the show is going well. Thank you very much, dude. We always appreciate your support, so thank you, dude.
Man, I hope the show is going well too. Too, man.
Eskimojo saying to JK XSS that the show is usually hosted by Jay and Brian. I'm Jay. Hello. My name tag should be just down here. Brian
I'm not Brian. Hi.
And this is not Brian. Yeah, in fact, that side. This is not Brian. But Brian is on a break this week. He's actually taken his second holiday from Top Clack. It's only the second time he's ever missed an episode in 3 and a bit years now. And Gasp is our guest host. She runs her own channel called The Apiary. Apiary Keyboards. She does build streams, which are usually really good fun. She quite often finds me hanging out in chat arguing with Talisman Solutions about random things.
Love it.
So yeah, okay. Next question comes from Petrov. Okay, it says, what do Jay and Gasp each think of GMK ASCII? I personally think it's a future classic, but think it's suffering in such a saturated key set month. What are your thoughts on it?
Can I be entirely honest? It wasn't even on my radar. I didn't even know. I don't even know what it looks like.
Okay, so if you go to Kono, the link that we looked at earlier on.
All right.
And then it's just on the front page. It's an Oblotsky set. In fact, I'll paste the link into chat so everyone knows what we're talking about.
Excellent.
There we go. So it's an Oblotsky set that is in a kind of a soft, warm grey colour with white legends, and it's got sub-legends based on the ASCII art and ASCII boards that we used to see in vintage keyboard hardware. So,
I'm actually a total liar. This was on my radar. I did look at this. Yeah, I just completely forgot that was the name for this particular group. Right? Total brain fry. I think you're right. I think it's a solid set. I appreciate that instead of bringing the interest with colors, they brought it in with those sub-legends. I think keep colors quite needed. will keep it, like you said, quite classic and able to mesh with a lot of different boards. But I appreciate that they didn't just go like with a straight gray, and they did bring some interest into it with those legends. I think that's the way to do it.
Fair. I think that's a fair assessment. I think I agree with Petrov that it probably will be seen as a future classic, very similar to how Space Cadet is. So over the past 3 or 4 years, when Space Cadet first ran, there was only maybe, I don't know, a quarter of the people in the hobby that there are now, and they sold minimum amounts of those kits, and it barely made MOQ. And then years later, people see those Space Cadet kind of layouts, and they think, oh, that's great, that's cool, I want to get my hands on that, and then they can't. So we've seen quite a few reruns of things like that recently. So we've seen Symbiosis Round 2, which did all of the symbolic symbols and everything else. So I think that this has that potential. I just think right now there is too many GMK sets running. I do think we're on the cusp of turning into a post MOQ world where we won't need things to hit MOQ all the time, and vendors will feel comfortable buying stuff out in advance because they know it will sell. But I think we're not quite there yet, and having 4 months of 12 key sets running each month, and then now running, you know, so many key sets so close to Christmas and New Year and Thanksgiving and all those kind of public holidays, I think it's probably just a little bit too much, and things should have been spread out a little bit more. But this is all a new learning experience for the community, so hopefully we'll learn from that, and sadly we might have to sacrifice a couple of sets to that learning ability, and this and other sets, sadly, like Yugo, might be the ones that we have to sacrifice, unfortunately. But I do agree, if this offered better support from a UK ISO perspective, then I would probably have picked it up, but sadly it doesn't give me what I need. If it had have done, I'd have bought it, I think.
I could not have put it better myself, actually. I think you said everything that I have been thinking over the past couple of months. Just watching these sets and how many are coming out, and then how many are now floundering. Yeah.
It's like we were going to talk about GMK Sparta, because sadly that didn't get to run, so they've cancelled that quite early, and the reason why they've cancelled the set is because it just wasn't getting the sales, and they'd rather refund a few people now than a lot of people later on, especially now that PayPal's rules have changed. And it's sad to see that happen. You know, it happened with the GMK Rocket set a few months ago, and you know, at least the vendors are able to take those decisions up front, and they're able to see them and understand why they're having to make those decisions before they actually have to make them. But
it's unfortunate too, because the best day, I think, pretty much universally for a group like the last day. But it's hard to anticipate how well it actually is going to do on that last day, because obviously it's the last day. So I think it's unfortunate that I think part of it is potentially caused by buying habits of, you know, everybody piling on that last day, and it's just too big of a risk to wait for that. So I don't know, maybe my point perhaps is, maybe if you love a set and you want to support it, maybe consider buying a little bit early. Vendors can gauge going on if you can.
Yeah, I think I agree, because I'm guilty of it myself, sometimes waiting right up until the end and think, oh, I'll see if it's going to hit MOQ before I buy it. And you're right, that is absolutely the wrong mindset to have. We need to be jumping on these and buying, not waiting for them to hit a certain limit before we get there. But yeah. Okay, next question comes from Eskimo Joe. He says ABS or PBT. I assume he means for keycaps, he doesn't specify, but which do you prefer, ABS or PBT?
I would say ABS. I know, but yeah, I honestly, this is a little bit of a controversial opinion. I like a lot of variance between my keyboards. I like having different things to try.
Yep.
So yeah, so I don't have like only one material or only one mounting style or only one color even. I like having a lot of variance. So I don't have like really strong opinions one way or the other, but I do think I give a slight hit.
Cool. I would probably agree. I think ABS is probably my favourite as well. One thing I can't stand is different keycap plastics on the same board. So one of my friends had ABS alphas and PBT modifiers, and that just made me feel so weird. It was like, the feel for me was like when someone runs their fingers down a blackboard and it makes you cringe. It was exactly like that. That was the feeling I got from it. Okay. So next question comes from Llama Farmer, which is a great username. I love seeing that username. He said stabs for a US 60%. I assume he means which stabs or where to get stabs. I'm not quite sure. Until I reviewed the C3 stabs, my money right now is on either Zeal or Everglide stabilizers. The problem with GMK ones right now is that they're a little bit scratchy until the new revised stabilizers come out early next year. So my money at the minute is on those two. Zeal if you want the high quality, and Everglide if you want something a little bit cheaper. That might change though when I start to look at the C3 stabs later on, although as 10 Strong has mentioned, there are some issues, so I'll have a review of those up at the weekend. How about yourself, Gasp? Which stabs do you prefer?
So I think my my issues with Zeal stabs have long been documented. I hate that they pop out on the wires. I've had issues with customers coming to me thinking that I broke their stabilizers when really the wire just popped out in transit.
Yeah.
Which is never fun. Not really like a massive problem unless your plate doesn't allow you to pop them back in, but it's become such an issue for me that it's kind of tainted my view of those stabs. I do think they're excellent, you know, as long as your plate allows for you to pop the wire back in. It's not a big deal and it's worth it over that, but for me personally, I go with GMK screw-in because it causes me less issues from that perspective.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Okay. Trey Pop says, what's the smallest keyboard size you'd use? I have quite a few 40%, but I couldn't go smaller. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. 40% is probably the smallest I could go. 100%.
Yeah, I think my favorite right now is my Equinox. I really, really do like that board, but I just couldn't go any smaller than that. Okay, thoughts on Big Ass Enter, says Trey Pop as well.
So Trey is actually a regular on my streams.
Oh, right,
and I
okay.
think he mentions Big Ass Enter at least like twice a stream. I am not even kidding. He knows my thoughts. I'm not going to answer that. You know, Trey.
Fair enough, fair enough. My view on Big Ass Enter is it should stay dead. There was a reason why we split up the shape of it into ANSI and ISO and split enter options. It's just one key that's too big, is my view.
Tell him.
Yeah, that's right. Although and actually, Depleted Vespine, Miguel, he doesn't tag us, but he does have a question that I've just noticed above that, which says weirdest layout either of you have ever tried. So the weirdest layout I've ever tried, and I'm going to answer this one first, is my Hyper 7 layout, because it's just so huge and it's so ridiculous. It's almost impossible to get your head around, because there's actually 3 rows of modifiers outside the alpha cluster. So and then the spacebar's only, I think it's 38 units across, but the spacebar is only 1.5 units. So trying to hit that spacebar when it's so large is just almost impossible. And there's 213 keys on the board as well, which means that you've got a key for everything. And it's got 8,000 functions over 9 layers, which means that there isn't really anything you can't do with the board, but trying to remember where everything is on the board is almost as impossible as just googling the character that you need and copying and pasting it.
Jesus
so
Christ.
yeah there we go.
Damn.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Probably,
What's the weirdest layout you tried?
Yeah, I'm like, if you notice me just like staring at my board, I'm like mentally constructing that here and just can't wrap my mind around it that it's huge.
Yeah.
I think the weirdest one for me that I personally used is probably a Dactyl. Those are weird, man. They are not for me. Yeah,
Yankar actually lent me his Dactyl a few years ago, and I really struggled to use that. I actually found it easier to put SA keycaps on that, because they conform to the curves a lot better on the convex surfaces. So yeah.
I think I've heard that before. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Llama Farmer says, I'm looking for really low sounding, thick switches. Any suggestions?
Huh.
What? I assume by thick he means deep sounding, like you know, really.
The thing is that it's not really. There's so many factors that go into how a board sounds. I think switches are only like a very small portion of that, but
I'd agree.
Yeah, so I think if you're looking for sound, you really have to consider everything. But personally, I really like creams for their sound, and Holy Pandas give like a nice talk. So probably those two would be my recommendations.
Yeah, I think it very much depends on other factors you said. I think if you have a firm desk with no mat and you have a brass plate that's top mount or sandwich mount, it doesn't really matter what switch you're going to use, you're going to get that thick thock sound from that kind of board. If you look at the Fiel Tehe Types video where he uses Holy Pandas, that's exactly that kind of layout and exactly that kind of board, and that's the noise you get. So I think you just need to maybe consider all of those elements in one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rocket Pete has sent a link and said, any chance you've seen the FFF switch from Island KB? So this was at 34 minutes past. If you want to scroll back through chat, Gasp, and take a look.
1 second. A little bit of scrolling here.
Okay, so I hadn't seen this actually. No, apologies, we missed it off of the news doc, Rocket Pete. I'll make sure that we add it to next week's news doc so Brian and I can have a good look at that. But it looks like a Gateron ink with an orange stem just at first glance. So linear switch, 62 grams. It sounds all right. Yeah, made by JWK. Okay, interesting.
JWK is the factory that makes Durock stuff, right? Or am I incorrect?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of consternation,
different ones like that, yeah.
but I think there's a lot of different companies that use the same factory and they're all doing different things. So yeah, okay. We'll definitely check that out next week. Rocket Pete, thank you very much for that. Our depleted Vespine asked the question again, but he tagged us that time. Thank you, dude. I think we've answered that one. Syntaxer says, any thoughts on the Keycap #1 revision 1? Have you built one of the #1 TKLs revision 1?
I believe I have. I think they're I mean, anything that comes out of Keycap is pretty damn beautiful. I have basically nothing bad to say. That's all I got. Is I think they're gorgeous, and if it's in your budget, I would, and if it's what you want out of the board, I would for sure consider picking one up.
Yeah. My view on them is I actually prefer the #1, not revision 1, because the original Type Machina #1 came in that lovely green colour. Nebulant, sell me that board, man. And it also supported ISO, which that's kind of dropped off the recent ones. Although I have got a way now of getting a Keycap #2 to be ISO compatible. So watch this space, because that's going to be my next project to work on. So watch this space. Okay, just scrolling down, we've got Japanese horror writer donating 1,000 spooky bits. Thank you very much, my dude. And I hope you saw my PM on Geekcat, because we were talking on there about something else. So I hope you saw that, dude. So thank you very much, Japanese horror writer. And Too Cute to Be Straight has subscribed with Twitch Prime for 3 months, saying looking good, Brian. So there you go. You're getting all the compliments today, Brian.
Thank you. Yep.
Upas comes up and says, Top Clack, what group buys are you personally looking forward to in December? Is there anything you're going to try and pick up in December?
Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to pick up a board, so I have actually been avoiding that side of Geekag because I don't want to be tempted. However, I'm definitely looking into Olivia and the Sucker. I'm sorry, probably both kits. And then also, I know it's been teased for a really long time, but I've been following it ever since it was first teased. Nautilus Knights is right up my alley, so I'll probably be picking that up as well if I possibly can.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be picking up any boards in group buy in December unless I can sort out this #2 stuff for ISO compatibility. In terms of keycap sets, I think, yeah, I'm going to have to get Olivia plus, but the dark kit, I've got Olivia from round 1. I'm going to have to get the dark kit from that. That's definitely going to be a must buy. Nautilus Nightmares, now it's got the ISO kit, probably going to sneak onto my radar as well. I'm a sucker for green sets, what can I say? Anything that's green is definitely going to get bought for me. So yeah, those. Mr. Petrov as well, he sends 1,500 unicorn bits, so thank you very much for that, dude. They're really, really nice. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Talisman Solution gifted another tier 1 sub to S&T, so thank you very much for that. Upas says, what is your favourite clicky switch and why is it Box Jade? It's not Box Jade. It has to be Boxer Navy. Box Navy for me.
Interesting. I really like lubed box whites. I actually built an ANSI with those and they felt incredible. I really love those.
Okay, interesting. I tell you what I did like, actually. I liked the Phoenix stems that came from Utamu through... Oh gosh, what's his name now? Through Paul. I can't think of his username. His username's escaped me at the minute. Gazoo, that's it, Gazoo. So he's the Utamu rep. So I actually kind of enjoyed those stems, but they were a little bit inconsistent with the Phoenix stems around whether they actually were clicky or not. There was a failure rate of about 10% where they just didn't click. But they were really nice. So yeah. Okay, Trey Pop again. It says dream layout that you haven't seen yet or don't have yet. Is there any layout that you'd like that you haven't seen or don't have yet?
I don't think there's one that has been like itching me to find, if that makes sense, that hasn't been made.
So the only one I can think of is one that I have seen, I have tried, but I don't own, is the new way of doing 75%, where you have the two 0.75U blockers on the bottom row, and then you have that really nice staggeredly even top row, rather than it being ortho for those two top rows. I think the Wraith from Sierra was the first board that introduced that, and I was really, really excited by that, and I actually got to try the Wraith out at a couple of UK meetups, so I think that is definitely going to be on my list.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Visionaire says exclusive is giving away an E8.5 on his Instagram. Maybe cop that. Okay.
I really loved the look of E8.5s. I think I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the TKL group buy, or interest check rather. I generally speaking think TKLs aren't my thing. They're kind of boring, and I'm not a big fan, but the E8.5 I think definitely is not boring. I think it's very interesting. I'll be interested in seeing how the group buy goes, considering how many options he's offering.
Yeah, it seems like there's an awful lot, but he is really experienced at shipping that kind of stuff out, so I think it'll be okay. I was actually chatting to him earlier on today, and he did say he might have a prototype that he can ship over to either Brian or I in the next couple of weeks, so that'll be interesting to try out. Yeah, definitely excited for that. Okay, so I think we've actually caught up with all of the questions now. So if you guys have got, Zui says Heroin Bob, yes, that's it. It's Heroin Bob, that's his username, and that's Paul's username on Reddit for the Utami reps. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. So guys, if you have got any more questions for either Gasp or myself, please do post them in chat now. You've probably got a couple of minutes left before we finish up. Just to highlight a few things that are coming up in the next couple of days, I've got a build stream on Sunday where I'm going to be building a polycarbonate Lin Whale with Nixes, which I'm really excited about because that's going to be quite a high-end board. It is going to be the first time I open my personal set of GMK DMG, and the reason for that is because I'm going to be doing some infill and I need to match the paint to the keycaps, so I'm actually going to have to open that set. Finally, after it being sat on my desk for 2 months, it is going to get opened. So Pub Goku, if you're still watching, that's going to be open just for you. Next week I'll be building a board for Laser Boost. So Laser Boost Joan, she loves the keyboard world, but she doesn't have her own custom keyboard, so I'm going to donate some 60% parts, a couple of metal cases and a wooden case, build her something nice. She wants it loud and clicky, that's all she's told me, so I think I'm going to go with box navies, a nice thick breastplate, put it in a tray mount case, and I'm going to send that over to her. She wants it firm and loud and clicky, so that's what we're going to go with. So I'm excited to do that as well. And then the week after that, I'll be building my polycarbonate canoe, which is going to have the laser switches in, hopefully, by that point as well. So cool. Anything else that's coming up in your world? Any more guest appearances on other streams that you want to shout or plug out? Because you've been everywhere lately when I've looked.
I have, yeah. I've been on Nex and Dak here in Keyboard, just about everywhere. I think I've touched just about everyone, so none that I know of. We'll see. I'm definitely open to more. We are working on a few, but I don't think they're solid enough yet. So, but beyond that, yeah, just keep a lookout for my JR1 build stream this Saturday, 7 o'clock Utah time. I'm very excited for that. We've got gaskets drying with glue right now, so.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then a Key Colts commission build stream should be next Wednesday. I don't want to promise anything, but should be next Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that as well.
Cool, excellent. Okay, last couple of questions and then we're going to close down the show. So Gio says rooting Tooting. Yes, always rooting Tooting. Yeah, absolutely. Tenstrong says least favourite artisan trend. I don't really have a least favourite artisan trend. I like pretty much everything in artisans and I don't dislike anything. I mean, their artwork at the end of the day, just because I personally don't like it doesn't mean to say it's not good. So yeah. Anything you dislike?
I have a few. Artisans are actually the world I was in before keyboards even, so I probably know more about the artisan world than the keyboard world, so I have a lot of opinions. I would say probably my least favorite is new makers coming on, kind of not knowing what they're doing, low effort sculpts charging high prices, low effort casting charging really high prices, not understanding where high prices from other artisan makers are coming from.
Interesting.
I could go on, and very lazy, boring. That's probably my least favorite ones that
Fair
I'm
enough.
seeing pop up more and more recently.
Okay. If you had to pick a favorite artisan maker, who would it be? Out of interest.
Ooh, that's really hard for me. I'd probably, if in an ideal world, I would break them down in categories, but I don't think we have that much time to dedicate to that. So I think I will just say Eat the Food, Nightcaps, Marcus and Tristan
Solid
did an
choice.
excellent job. Yeah, and they've been around for eons. They're constantly pushing themselves to try new things and to evolve, and that's all things that I can appreciate and support happily.
Absolutely, yeah. I need to actually do a count and see whether I've got more Kiporas or more Cthulhus, because I'm not sure which I have more of. I need to actually do a count, but they're quite possibly two of my favourite sculpts. Llama Farmer said, I meant what size for the stabs and how many, like 2U and stuff. Okay, for a 60%, you will need a 2U for your backspace, you'll need a 2U for your enter, you'll need a 2, I'm assuming you're going to build an ANSI, you'll need a 2U for your left shift, you'll need either a 6.25 or a 7U for your spacebar, and then you might also need an additional one for right shift if you're not going to split it. So that's your lift. So backspace, enter, left shift, potentially right shift, all at 2U, and then you want a space bar at either 6.25 or 7U depending on what bottom row you're going with. Eskimojo says favorite Olivia clone, GMK Cafe, also known as GMK Monochrome, also known as GMK Olivia. Yeah, all those are the same set, so I would pick those.
I'm not picking.
You're not picking? Alright, okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Fair enough. Existentially Yours says best non-FE Iron 165 colour. I don't know if you saw the colours for the Iron 165.
I sure didn't.
They did.
But I bet they offered an excellent rose gold.
They did a navy blue, a plum. I can't remember. Plum's the right answer anyway.
Plum's always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plum's the right answer. He comes back again with the second question. Did anyone with plum reach out to you? So I actually wanted to get a plum one as well as my FE, and I didn't buy it. So I said that the first person to message me, I would build it for them for free, not charge them anything other than shipping. And I got 6 people reach out to me with the same timestamp. So I have no idea who was first. So I'm going to be building 6 of them. So yeah, 6 people reach out. So yeah.
That's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, so it's always the way it goes. Okay, so I think that's it then for the stream, guys. There's no more questions come through. We're almost at the 2-hour mark, so we're going to call down the stream now. Just a quick recap: if you have got any small amount of funds to donate and you are looking to have a chance at owning a JO1, please do go check out the JO1 raffle tickets that are available now on Novel Keys. It's a $5 ticket. It goes to a great cause. Please do check it out. We sold about 800 tickets last time I checked with Mike earlier on this week, so we're already making a huge amount of money. I want to see at least 1,000 tickets sold. That would make my year if we could make 1,000 tickets be the target. I'd be absolutely ecstatic if we managed to do that, and even more so if we managed to beat that. So please do go take a look at that. Existentially also says he's in for 5 already. Yeah, we've had some great people buying them, so yeah, thank you to everyone that does. I'll be back on Sunday with my build stream. Gasp has got build streams on Saturday and Wednesday next week as well, so do go check those out. Apiary Keyboards on twitch.tv. Please check it out. Talisman's posted the links in chat, so go definitely subscribe, like, whatever you do on Twitch. I don't know. I think that's YouTube, not Twitch.
Ring the bell.
Whatever. Ring the bell. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Do the thing, click the button, send the money. Yeah, go on, do
Come
that.
hang out with me, man. I enjoy talking with chat and building cool keyboards. So please let me do that.
Absolutely. And Brian and I will be back next week on the show, next Thursday at the usual time. He will be back to his usual drudgery old self and won't look quite as good as does today. So I do apologise about that. Zui just says he dropped in 10 tickets. If he wins, he wants me to lick it. If you're buying 10 tickets, I will absolutely lick that keyboard before I ship it to you. You probably won't want to touch it after I have licked it, but yes, I will do that for you. Cool. Okay, so I think that's it, guys, and we're going to close down the stream now. Thank you very much for joining us, Gasp. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today, so I really appreciate that. Cool, and hopefully we'll get you on again at some point soon. She's far more poorly behaved in her own streams too.
Petrov calling now. I have been known to drop a swear word or two.
Cool. A1A says, what will you do if I buy 50 tickets? If you buy 50 tickets, I'll throw in a free bag of switches for it, A1A. If you buy 50 tickets, I will do that. Whether you win it or not, I will chuck the switches in. If you buy 50 tickets, I'll do that. Okay, so yeah, there we go. The Nightbot's pinged with the link, so go check that link out. We're going to finish the stream there. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you again on Sunday. We'll see you again next week. Gasp will see you on Saturday if you want to go check her channel out. And we'll see you later. Thanks very, very much for your time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.